My name is Hassan, and in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you the unconventional path to building a 40K per month business. I want to start this story off by taking you back to some of my earlier days because I truly believe that you can only connect the dots looking backwards. Since I was a little kid, my mother has filmed me with a VHS camera, and it really shows you the genuine curiosity that I had as a kid. I always had a smile on my face, and I still do to this day. And I think that genuine curiosity, that genuine passion for learning and discovering has really given me an edge as an entrepreneur, of course, on top of being very grateful for not only the opportunity we have in this generation, right? The phone that you have in your pocket. I mean, people wish in the past, right, to have had that opportunity where you could record one video, share one perspective, share one story, and it can reach 100, 1,000, even hundreds of thousands of people. So having that genuine curiosity and having that genuine gratitude for the opportunity available to us has really given me an edge. I've been responsible and led campaigns and projects for some of the world's largest organizations as well as largest online entrepreneurs in the space. Through the work I've done, I've been able to generate over 10 million in sales for my clients, as well as generated over 500 million views across the board. So when it comes to building a business, you really again have to connect the dots looking backwards. So I want to take you guys back to the first time in my life where I had found entrepreneurship. I was 7 years old. We were living in an apartment complex, and just through that sheer curiosity, I would see the golfers hit the golf balls over the fence, and it would hit the bushes. Sometimes it would even hit our apartment, and I would take a plastic bag and I would collect all these golf balls. And some of these are, some of the best golf ball brands you could think of, Callaway and so on. So I would collect all these balls, sort them, wash them, and then this was the first time in my life that I had sold something as an entrepreneur. So I would sell the golf balls right back to the golfers. I didn't know it then, but what I was learning was, one, the ability to communicate, right, the product that I have, and also the ability to sell, right? Although it was a very easy product and very easy interaction, at the time it was such a great learning experience, right? To collect inventory and to reach out to these golfers through the fence, like, hey, do you guys want to buy some golf balls? Again, I didn't know it at the time, but that was my first sales experience and my first experience learning that process. And throughout my life, right, that curiosity never faded. The next, I guess, business or project that I worked on was building a Minecraft channel and a Call of Duty channel. And in both of those cases, I didn't know it at the time, but what I was learning was, how do you attract attention? How do you build a title, a thumbnail, a hook structure, even a video structure to maintain retention on a platform like YouTube? And this is, again, in the very early stages of YouTube. So although I didn't know it then, I was developing sales skills, I was developing marketing skills, right? How do you generate that attention and hold that attention and, of course, start to generate an audience? And really from there, it went into so many other projects. So growing up, I knew I didn't want to take the traditional path. I know my parents definitely wanted me to become a lawyer or a doctor, but there was always something in me, again, that curiosity, that excitement, for just having that flexibility to do what you love and explore the things that you love. It ended up leading me to starting an agency, my very first agency, which failed miserably. It was one of the toughest times in my life because I didn't have experience. I didn't have the ability to articulate the product or the solution that I wanted to sell. And it was challenging. I would walk into car dealerships, businesses, in person. Imagine, 14, 15 years old, dressed as fancy as I could at the time, walking into these places, just making a fool of myself. But it was through that ability to face discomfort and face rejection many times, right? So many times that I built that skill, because that is a skill at the end of the day, right? The ability to be uncomfortable and to face rejection and to push through that and still have this genuine curiosity for learning and continuing to grow as a person. So I used to take the train to downtown San Francisco, meet with clients, and get no deals. And it got so bad to the point where I actually, for the first time in my life, picked up a job, and I was devastated. I was dragging my feet going into this random retail opportunity, and I lasted 3 days. It was 3 days in, I was looking around and I was like, this is not the life that I want to have. And this is not the, with the skill sets I've built naturally, this is not what I'm capable of. So I knew that if I didn't make that change, even at that young of an age, I knew nothing was going to change. So I was quickly able to get out of that and pick things back up. So I tried the agency one more time. Next thing you know, I'm trying this fancy new thing with LinkedIn outreach. I'm reaching out to 100 business owners a day. Didn't know it at the time, but what I was learning then is volume, right? You have to do so much volume in your business that it's unlikely for you to fail, right? You have to do so much volume, and at the time, I was sending about 100 LinkedIn messages a day to business owners and startups in downtown San Francisco. And eventually I got an opportunity. I landed a meeting, a 15-minute coffee meeting with a startup in downtown San Francisco, and I was shaking. At the time, the most I had ever made was maybe $500, $1,000 on random video projects. So taking that train to San Francisco, my hands were shaking. I walk in there nervous. I'm meeting with what it looked like at the time, the board of the directors of this startup. It's a financial real estate lending company. And I walk in there and I knew prior to this meeting that if I didn't take a chance, I didn't take a risk, nothing was going to change. So I walked into that meeting holding a quote for $6,000 a month. I had never in my life charged that kind of money. I walk into that meeting and I pitch, I share my presentation, I share my previous work, and then the CEO of the company looks at the invoice for, I kid you not, half of a second and signs it on the spot. And the lesson there that I learned is that, one, you shouldn't overthink. Two, the product and the service I was selling was extremely valuable to this business, right? The reason the CEO had looked at it for half of a second is because he knew what I was going to deliver on. And that taught me a lot. One, I learned how to charge more. Two, I learned how to believe in my work and have the confidence. And I continued to build. So throughout my university days, I built my agency to over 55.5K per month, working again with some of the largest organizations in the world, like Fujifilm, Sonosite, Luxury Listings, and so on, many, many other startup companies and organizations. And growing into the age of 16, 17, and 18 years old, I started to really mature as a business owner. I started to learn how to sell effectively and sell a product that these companies genuinely needed, right? So the way you succeed in business is by focusing on one product, one avatar, and solving a very urgent and important problem. And at the time, startups were booming with video production and new marketing systems, right, as these different technologies and platforms were evolving. So it was a beautiful time for me to be targeting startups in downtown San Francisco. So also, right, having that understanding of your market and the opportunity at play here. And that was an incredible business that allowed me to travel to over 16 countries all over the world, shooting documentaries, shooting high-end video production, and building high-end marketing systems for these incredible organizations. So I learned a lot. I learned sales, I learned marketing, and I learned how to articulate the problem that these businesses were experiencing, and I learned how to sell it to them. So a lot of fantastic experience was developed through starting and building my agency. So throughout my time building my agency, I learned that I didn't have to spend all day cold calling or cold emailing. I learned that I could do more high leverage activities such as creating content. And through creating content, I started to attract clients, right? Content that demonstrates the problem that these companies are experiencing, content that is valuable and educational. And now, again, when I post one video, the leverage there is 100x, right? One video can reach 1,000, 100,000 people and potential customers that want to buy my product and tap into my business. Versus just sitting there doing what everybody was doing at the time, struggling and cold calling. And through these different mechanisms and these different approaches, I continued to adapt my strategy. At that time as well, I had met a really interesting entrepreneur, one of the biggest education entrepreneurs in the world, and he had told me to look into building a course product. And I did that. Again, I wanted to adapt, I wanted to learn, I wanted to have these different angles and perspectives in business and not lock myself into one particular thing. So I did that. I built a video production course for entrepreneurs that were looking to get into video production and service the companies that I was servicing. And at the time of being in high school, that video production course was generating over 20K per month. I was the coolest senior in my high school, whether they liked it or not. I really was. I was a bit of a nerd, a bit to myself, but it felt good to be in high school and be the odd one out and traveling the world and building and scaling this product. I remember at the time, my cousins and some of my mentors in entrepreneurship saw how successful my course product was, and they started to replicate it and do it in their own manner. So that felt really good. That was a fantastic experience to understanding a more high leverage product, right? You build it once and you can sell it to many. So that was a great experience. And throughout all of this time, continuing to create content, I had grown to the age of about 22, 23 years old. And I started to get a lot of emails, a lot of interest on LinkedIn, a lot of big companies around the world wanting my services in an in-person manner. Now, I've always been against the idea of locking myself into a 9-to-5 and I say the corporate golden handcuffs, right? Because that salary is a drug for a lot of people, and I knew I didn't want to tie myself into an ecosystem like that. But what I did know is that the experience and the value that I could get from working with a company that's so much bigger, right? If I'm an entrepreneur doing 55.5K per month, that's nothing compared to the companies that are doing 700 million, $1 billion in revenue every single year, right? The ecosystems, the processes, there was so much to learn. So at 22, 23 years old, I took up a corporate job, and it was an incredible experience. I worked my way up very quickly, became the sales and marketing director at an incredible company that's doing over 750 million a year. And through my time there, I was able to grow their census, grow their, the product that they were selling. And I added 3.5 million in yearly recurring revenue into that business with just 5 months of being there. Again, fantastic experience, right? To learn how to build a team, to work with a team, to hire, right? To build marketing systems, to build CRM systems. All these different experiences were just so in line with all the work that I was previously doing. Again, not even knowing at these early days and early stages that all these skills accumulated, right? If you think about it, business is like a video game. You're developing really two sides to your character in business. One, it's the mental battle, right? The discipline, the consistency, right? The willingness to be uncomfortable and to experience that fear. And at the same time, you're stacking up skills, right? Just like in a video game where you acquire these different skills and these points. For me, right, it was learning to sell. It was learning to build a product. It was learning to communicate that product, right? Learning to deliver on a great product as well. It's one thing to market and sell, but if your product isn't good and your product doesn't deliver, then you're going to get washed out of the game very, very quickly. So a lot of those experiences in the corporate world helped me a lot to just make my experience very well-rounded and really have a great understanding of how these larger businesses work. And again, I was doing a fantastic job creating some serious revenue for these big organizations as well. So after experiencing the corporate world for a few years, while at the same time continuing to run my agency, I had continued to run this agency for the last 8 years. It still exists to this day. Incredible business that I've been able to really build a team around, and it's running on autopilot now. But taking all of these skill sets and taking myself out of, again, the golden handcuffs of the corporate world, I built a consulting business, and this was a solo consulting business, and I built it very simply, right? I'm a huge believer in building simple businesses that solve a very specific problem to a very specific audience. So I built a YouTube channel. I didn't make it complicated. I made iPhone videos walking in my neighborhood here in Irvine, California, and I educated. I taught agency owners exactly what they need to do to grow their business. Again, very specific target audience, very specific solution to the problem. And through these simple videos, I was able to grow a channel to, believe it or not, 400 subscribers. Some of these videos had a couple thousand views. And within the first 23 days of launching this business, because I was hyper-focused and targeted, and remember, using all the experience and expertise I have, with 400 subscribers, and in 23 days, I built a 40K per month recurring consulting business, helping these agency owners. And the results were incredible with a lot of the companies that came through that business. But again, extremely simple. I'm doing walking and talking videos in my neighborhood where the lighting wasn't perfect. What I was saying wasn't perfect, but I was solving real problems, and that was enough to get people to book calls and be interested in my product. With the success of that, I went ahead and also partnered with an incredible marketer here in Los Angeles, a good buddy of mine named Trey. And we built another consulting business with a separate YouTube channel. We grew it to about 11K subscribers very quickly, and we built another 40K per month recurring consulting and coaching business as well, helping online entrepreneurs, and the results have been incredible. So once I built up all these skill sets, and I truly was an expert at building marketing systems and building online mechanisms for entrepreneurs, I was able to tap into that and to do a more high leverage activity, right? I went from being stuck in that 9-to-5 corporate world, working 8 hours a day, right? In my agency, working 16 plus hours a day. I mean, those days were unbelievable, right? Servicing some of these large companies, to building a business that is high leverage. I have control over my hours, and the results are incredible, because what we do in a consulting and coaching business is you're an architect of that business owner, right? You can come in, assess their entire business, do an audit, look into their offer, look into their marketing systems, and I can quickly diagnose what's going wrong in their business and what changes they need to make. So incredible opportunity to take my skill sets and build 3 different businesses, one to 55.5K per month, solo consulting business to 40K per month, and then a consulting business with a partner to over 40K per month as well. Amongst, again, being in the corporate world and running salaries all the way up to 160 and 180K a year at the age of 23 years old, which was, again, an incredible experience for me. So as we start to think about how you can start to build your 40K per month business, I wanted to share a couple case studies and examples. Now, I have hundreds of these. This would be a 2-hour-long video if I was to walk through every single story, but I wanted to give you a couple quick examples to help you start to picture this for yourself. With my time at Fujifilm Sonosite, one of the world's largest medical device companies, I was able to generate over 90 different marketing campaigns for this company at an extremely high level. Again, this is a company doing near billions in revenue per year. As well as in the corporate world, with working with Silverado Senior Living, I helped them generate $3.5 million in recurring annual revenue in under 5 months, as well as working with luxury listings who have 3.5 million followers on Instagram, one of the world's largest luxury real estate platforms. So helping them with their strategic viral marketing campaigns. So from the corporate lens, I'm coming in with a lot of experience and a lot of perspective on what you could do to really push your brand forward and cultivate a strong audience. So among working with some of the largest organizations in the world, I've also had the pleasure of working with some of the largest personality brands in the space as well. So with Prince EA, I was able to deploy and develop all of his content into 9 different languages, generating over 50 million views, as well as working closely with Iman Ghatzi in his early days. So I was the #1 affiliate for his personal branding course at the time, Influencer Ignited. Got to travel the world with him for a little while. Fantastic experience. I was 18 years old being the #1 affiliate marketer for some of his products. So learned a lot about what it takes to build an education business. Now, just to share with you guys some really interesting case studies, one of my clients goes by the name of Crew Mahoney, and with Crew, I was able to help him go from 7,000 Instagram followers to 700,000 Instagram followers, and the product that he was selling was discipline-based coaching. And the reason I share this story is he went from working DoorDash to somebody who has built an incredible lifestyle business for himself, moved across different states and purchased a home. And I share that story because he was posting, when I had met him, he had already posted 1,700 times. So he had the discipline, he had the work ethic, but he didn't have a strategy, a marketing strategy and a product strategy. So what I was able to do is immediately walk in and figure out why his content wasn't getting the right audience, right? And why it wasn't getting conversions, right, into his product. So from the first video we did together, it was an Instagram reel that ended up generating over 50 million views. And that just blew up his business and his platforms overnight. And the reason that happened is simply due to the architecture of the hooks in his videos. He had posted 1,700 videos that had very lackluster introductions, with one simple change generating that conversation, that attention around the topics that he would speak about, absolutely changed his business and allowed us to push and scale forward very quickly. We went from no income from content to consistent 20K per month, as well as pushing into the 30K months pretty often as well with him. So it was absolutely incredible. The next client that I worked with is Marcel. He is somebody who trains people in sales, absolutely incredible sales coach. And with him, he was on the verge of having his Instagram account just not generating any kind of attention that he was looking for. It had gotten banned, shadow banned at a certain time. So we flipped that around, we built a YouTube channel, fixed up his Instagram, and now he's doing 80K per month selling and teaching and coaching people on sales, which is just incredible. Another great example is my client, Evan Vance. I helped him with a very small audience. We're talking about a YouTube channel that had 3,000 subscribers. I was able to push it to the 8K range, 8,000 subscribers of very targeted and focused audience. And we were able to grow his business to 101K in a single month in 23 days, just by simply understanding who we're serving and building an incredible product around it. This next story is incredible. This is somebody who had been in the 9-to-5 corporate world for a very long time. My client, Ali, was a NASA engineer and had PhDs in his studies, absolutely incredible person. And he could have simply stayed in the corporate world, stayed an incredible engineer for an organization like NASA, but he knew he wanted to step into the greater good. And the greater good meant that he would take a little bit of risk and that he would build a business around the things that he loves and he knows he can absolutely educate around. So with Ali, With a YouTube channel, we took it from 100 subscribers to 20,000 subscribers, and we generated 70K in sales within 2 months with a low ticket product. Fast forward now, after a couple years, he's now running and managing a business that's generating over 1.7 million per year, which is just incredible. Again, this is somebody who was an engineer at a fantastic organization and took that leap of faith into building a business around himself and what he knows. The next entrepreneur I worked with goes by the name of Grayson. He is the world's leading YouTube strategist, absolutely incredible. I mean, he has hundreds of YouTube plaques, but with his incredible expertise, he didn't know how to scale a business properly. So with all of that experience and all of that knowledge, he had a business that was generating 8,000 per month. When I stepped in, I was able to fix his offer, fix his systems and his processes within his business, and we were able to scale it to a 30K per month consistent business, which is just incredible. So even if you're an incredible expert, you are the go-to person in your domain, it's still very important that you understand how to build a business around your expertise. So with fixing his offer, we were able to do that fairly quickly. The next entrepreneur I've had the pleasure to work with goes by the name of Trey. He's absolutely incredible, one of the most talented entrepreneurs I've met. When I first met him, he had no audience. We were able to scale it to over 450K followers on Instagram. Helped him build his own offer, which was amazing. He got to work with some of the largest personality brands in the space, like Daniel Dalen. And then we ended up teaming up and working together and building that consulting business that I was referencing earlier to over 40K per month consistently. And again, I can go through hundreds of stories like this and entrepreneurs and businesses I've been able to support, but let's get into how you can start to build your 40K per month business and what this really looks like. So the first thing I wanted to share is that, again, we live in a world where marketing is free. You can start with organic content. You don't have to pay radio. You don't have to pay a billboard. You don't have these incredibly expensive marketing strategies like it was in the past. So with that being said, you have this golden opportunity for you to speak about your brand, share stories, share perspectives, and it doesn't have to cost you anything. And organic content is the ecosystem you want to start with, because if you can prove your content organically, then you could put some paid ads behind it and work this incredible machine and really scale your business forward. With organic content, you can post a video, and even if that video reaches 300, 400, even 500 people, that is still a viewership and an audience that you wouldn't have been able to get in the past, right? And this is something that you're not paying for. And as you guys know, when you build specific solutions around specific problems, you can build a business very, very quickly, even with simply just running organic content. So the process is really simple here. For you to build a business around your expertise, you need to start with traffic. This is where majority of people fail and mess up. If you don't have traffic and attention and eyeballs, right? Attention is the currency here. You don't have a business. So the reason most people can't get to 10K per month, 20K per month, or even get into the 40K and beyond mark is simply because they cannot get attention on their product. If you're not spending the first 4 hours of your day promoting and speaking about your product and creating valuable content, then it's already over for you. You're not going to compete with the people who are doing it at an incredibly high level, with production value, with high level education, and with incredible proof and demonstration of their ability and their expertise. So that's the playing field here. You're competing with a lot of people, but remember that that's still a good thing. If there's saturation in the market, that means there's demand, and you can easily stand out in a market like that with a little bit of effort and a little bit of attention on what this can look like for you. So let's start with traffic. With traffic, you have a lot of different options, but my recommendation is to start with short form content. This can either be Instagram or TikTok, and then you need YouTube as your nurturing mechanism. The more time that a customer spends with you on YouTube, whether it's 15 minutes, 20 minutes, or hours compounded over time, that individual can trust you, can believe in your philosophy, can understand your worldview, and will be very interested in working with you, again, with that time that they've spent with you. So it's very important to have both. Short form is absolutely killer for generating quick attention, We know that these platforms are dopamine based and people are just swiping like crazy, but you can generate that early attention. And then once you capture that attention on short form, you want to direct them to a nurturing mechanism like YouTube. So a couple great examples of this. Once you have the attention, there's a couple different ways you can start to nurture them. You can sell by chat, right? You could direct your short form and your YouTube audience to an opportunity to have a conversation with you via chat. You could send them to a VSL, which is a sales letter video. You can send them to your long form YouTube content, and you could also send them to different workshops that you could host to, again, nurture that audience. So start with short form, take them to YouTube, nurture them through any of the mechanisms mentioned here. And the next step in this process, once you're posting valuable content, demonstrating your expertise, showing proof, you need to be able to convert this audience. Now, there's a million different ways to do this, but I'm gonna give you the two best ways that I've personally been able to support these incredible companies with. You could send your audience to an appointment engine. This can simply be a Calendly call where they book in and have an opportunity to have a one-on-one conversation with you. I like to call these a coffee chat. Now, a lot of people in the industry, especially right now, are pushing this narrative and idea that sales calls are gimmicky, it's a guru move, it's a manipulative move. I disagree with that. I think sales calls are still important because it gives you that one-on-one time to understand that person's problem, to run a sales call ethically. Just because you do sales calls doesn't mean you have to do sales calls in a manner that is unethical or you're manipulating people to buy your product. You can do so ethically, and I think that exposure in the early stages of your business is incredibly important so you could understand their pain points, their desires, and you could once again put that back into the marketing system. You want to be a business that is marketing heavy and sales easy instead of a business who's not so good at marketing and runs a very manipulative, challenging, and difficult sales cycle. So extremely important. I recommend one-on-one sales calls as the founder because it is the greatest opportunity for you to connect and build rapport with that individual, and also figure out if you could actually help them. Because if people are getting on the call and you know you can't help them and you're selling, then that just means you're a bad entrepreneur and you're a person who's not looking out for the best intention and the interest of your customers, right? Because the next part of this is delivering the product. And if you can't deliver results, you will fizzle out as an entrepreneur very, very, very quickly. So appointment engine, again, taking people from YouTube and short form to a simple sales call where you can sell ethically, demonstrate your proof, demonstrate your results, and sell them on your product. The other option is sending them to a simple landing page or an offer document. Now, depending on your scale and depending what kind of business you run, you can send them to, for example, a school landing page, which is currently converting better than those standard landing pages. And the person can be able to scroll and read about your product and the value add and just purchase directly, as well as with an offer document. Again, my personal preference and what I recommend here is that you go with an appointment engine because it gives you more of that one-on-one time. So now that we have generated attention, we have traffic consistently coming into the business, and we're focused on our marketing efforts, we're converting, we're starting to work and speak with some incredible clients on the service and product offerings that we have, the next thing you need to do is deliver, right? You have to deliver a fantastic product. There's two ways that I recommend in this particular manner. Again, if you're an e-commerce or a product-based business, this is different. Of course, just send them to the actual place where they can purchase the product and make sure your product is fantastic. But in the sense of coaching, consulting, and running a service-based business, you have two options. You can run a hero product or you can run a monthly recurring product. My biggest recommendation here for anybody starting is just start with a hero product. A hero product allows you to demonstrate that you can help someone get a specific outcome in a specific period of time. So that hero product could be a $2,000 product where you're helping them, again, reach that specific outcome in a certain period of time, and sell a bunch of those, get some case studies, get some testimonials. If you're just starting out, it's okay to work for free and get a couple case studies under your belt. I did that many times with the many businesses that I started in the past. And then once you've done this long enough and you have a great product with great case studies and testimonials, switch to a monthly recurring model. And especially if this can become a high ticket monthly recurring model, now you're setting yourself up for an extremely simple, extremely high profit business around your expertise and what you have to offer. The reason the monthly recurring is very attractive is you don't have to restart every single month. When you sell a $6,000, $12,000, or $24,000 high ticket service or product, at the end of every single month, you have to go get more clients in and rebuild that business back up to 40, 50, or 100K per month. But with a recurring model, you can maintain a customer base, continue to deliver exceptional results, and now you have a business that is doing 40K monthly recurring, and you could continue to compound and scale that as big as you want, really, depending on how much team you want and how much profit margin you want to maintain. The reason this business is so incredible and so high leverage is because you're looking at a 97% profit margin, right? In the last 3 businesses that I've had, I've maintained them solo or with one single partner. I've fulfilled and delivered to all my clients, and I maintain a 97% profit margin. And that is what you could do so long as you're coming into this with great expertise, a great product, and a good intention. As a business owner, you have a responsibility not just to yourself, you have a responsibility to the clients that you work and support. If you have bad intentions and you don't treat your business like it is a genuine responsibility, right? If you have a good product, your intention should be wake up every single day and go and promote that product because you know that product is doing good in the world. Again, whether it's coaching, consulting, or an agency, you have a responsibility to support your clients and share that with the world. The important part as you develop your offer is to understand that there's a risk associated with your offer. So you have to eliminate that risk with the clients that you're working with. Can you do a guarantee? Can you do a 60-day love it or leave it type of trial? Reduce that risk and show demonstrable proof that your product can help them achieve that result. It's going to help you so much more in these early stages as you build and develop this product. And as you're starting a business like this, something that's extremely important for you to consider is that the more niche you are in the beginning, the more profitable you're going to be. You need to solve a specific problem. You have to do market research, figure out what your target audience is seeing, what kind of hooks do they like, what kind of videos, content are they currently consuming, and again, keep it narrow and niche and solve those specific problems. So look back in your life and connect the dots backwards. What kind of expertise do you have? What kind of pain points have you solved? And what things are you specifically passionate about? This is where a business like this is born. Think back at every experience, all the time you spent in school, all the time you may have spent in the corporate world, and start to think about what this can look like for yourself. So I'm going to quickly summarize what this can look like to quickly getting to 40K per month. So step 1 around this process of building your offer, you have to think about what is the specific dream outcome that you're helping your audience with. And then what is the likelihood of them achieving that process and that dream through your work. And another important part of your offer is you have to be able to demonstrate that it is a low effort and low sacrifice that they must do to achieve that dream outcome. And the next layer to this is making sure that they can achieve that dream outcome in a shorter time period. If you can be the person that can solve their problem in 30 days, 90 days, or even in 6 months, then it's more likely that they're going to want to work with you and within your offer. The next part of this process is to build a unique mechanism. Now, a unique mechanism is just a funny or silly name to represent the system or the process that you've developed. Now, the reason we do this in marketing is so we have something to remember. For example, in my example, I teach OCA, which is Organic Client Acquisition. So it's a simple acronym, a simple word or phrase you can use that people can remember. And your mechanism could be a list, a process, a system, something unique that you've developed that helps them, again, achieve that dream outcome. So come up with a unique mechanism. Like we talked about earlier, the number 1 most important part of this process is attention. And if you're going to start on any platform, the platform you should start on is going to be YouTube to generate that attention. 1 to 2 simple YouTube videos every single week. Have a hook, have an authority statement. You know, my name is Hassan DJ, I've achieved X thing, and in this video, I'm going to help you achieve X thing. It is that simple to have an authority-based hook statement in your videos, provide a ton of value and education, and demonstrate your expertise. And remember, if your free content is the best that it can be and somebody from your audience can watch that piece of content, go and take that advice, implement it in the real world, and it does well or it helps them achieve something, they will again attribute that success to you, which will make your entire ecosystem even stronger. They'll build more trust with you. So demonstrate your proof, demonstrate some incredible value, and then people will naturally be drawn to the opportunity of working with you. And the way they're going to be able to do that is through something called a CTA, a call to action. You simply need to tell your audience what the next step that they need to take is. So many people overlook this extremely simple step, but give them perspective on what they could do next to achieve that dream outcome. They've watched your free content, they've watched your free value, invite them to that one-on-one call with you or that one-on-one workshop, whatever that process might look like. You have to remind them to take action and take that next step. And once we've gotten that audience to an opportunity where you could do a discovery call with them, we need to do a few things here. 1, we need to figure out if my specific solution or your specific solution can actually help that individual. Again, back to ethical marketing and ethical salesmanship. If your product can genuinely help someone solve their problem, fantastic. There's some synergy there and you could turn that person into a client. If there isn't, thank them for their time, and point them in a different direction, because the most important part of this entire process, if you want to build a service-based business, if you want to build a coaching business, is your reputation. You mess that up once and you're out of the game. So please make sure you sell ethically and you sell something that is genuinely around a problem that you've solved for yourself. And in a later stage of the Zoom call or the phone call, you simply want to ask them to proceed with your product and with your solution. Sales is not difficult when you're selling from your heart and you're selling with a proper system. Invite them to be a part of your product to help them solve that specific outcome in a specific time period. If you can do that and get that practice and get those reps in, then you have an incredible business. And as you guys know, with a platform like YouTube, you can sell high ticket, expensive items. You can sell a $6,000 package, $12,000 package, or even a $24,000 package. And you could do so ethically without any kind of manipulation, because again, you're that individual that can help them solve that problem. So when we start to talk about these numbers, you guys are starting to realize and understand that a 40K a month business is 4 clients at 10K, right? As a simple example, or double that at 5K. So it's very simple, and it's a process that you can use to build a true lifestyle business around your passion and your expertise. And you can really start to build something that excites you, something where you don't have to feel like you're sitting idle and dormant in a job you hate or in a process that you hate. And you can start waking up with the passion of 50 people, right? The passion that makes you want to jump out of bed and help and service and provide good in the world. And of course, as you guys know, you can do this through coaching, consulting, and building a service-based business. So if you are a business owner or an online founder and you're looking to get my help in scaling and building your business past 40K per month, feel free to book in a one-on-one coffee chat down below. In this call, we're going to figure out if I could support you in fixing your offer, fixing your marketing systems, and allowing you to build an incredible product that genuinely changes the world. So if you're interested, feel free to book a call in the description below. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.